Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Planetary Annihilation. Today we are going to be having a look at some of the advanced units that have been added in the Titan standalone expansion whatever game. So now the first unit that we're having a look at is the Locust, and the Locust is in effect a nanobot swarm. I would say. I would say it's probably the next level up suicide bot. All right, so in effect, you know, it is a pretty powerful unit, but it can only work at a close range. So you know, you've got to really be careful when you deploy it. Also, it tends not to work unless it's in large swarms. So you've really got to have a large number of these things to do any damage to your enemies. But these are probably my favorite looking new advanced units. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think these guys look really cool. So you know, I think it's, you know, it's totally fair game that these guys are in. And you know, more units is more diversity, and you get to see more strategies and whatnot. So yeah, really cool to see these Locusts in. But yeah, once again, they really do only work when they're in a large group. And even the group that I've got right now is you know, it's large, but it's probably not large enough, you know. So yeah, that could be a potential difficulty. Although I suppose when you look at it on the face of it, most of the bot units, old and new, all require large groups to be effective in. But you know, that's especially the case with these Locusts. But yeah. Hopefully we're going to see some action soon. Here I am, deploying them. I'm up against Jake in this match again. We're testing out the advanced units and whatnot. So I'm now trying to find his base, and I think it takes me a while to find it. But as you can see, the vision around the Locusts is rather small, which is you know, not the greatest, but at the same time, if they're quite effective, then you know, that's fine. Also, the attacking animation that they do is very cool. So just to pre-warn you about that, it is pretty cool. All right, so as you can see, I'm getting a little bit lost here. I don't really know what's going on. My sense of direction is pretty darn terrible at the moment. Although I have been told where he is, but I cannot find him. I cannot find him at all. Look at this. Look at me looking around. Ridiculous. But yeah, no, this can't attack air units, so it's pretty much only effective on ground rushes. So that's really pretty much most of the things you need to know about it. And we'll be having a look at the effectiveness really shortly. There we go. As you can see, you know, once you get a building surrounded by these things, they're pretty good. They're pretty good, especially for such a cheap unit. But as soon as they actually come up against any actual real army, then you start to see some pushback, and it's less easy to take a real army out. As you can see, yeah, it's really rather difficult to deal with levelers and advanced units of that sort. Even bolos, I imagine, would provide a little bit of an issue for these nanobots. But yeah, look at the attack and animation. It's pretty darn awesome, and you know, this just goes to reinforce that these guys really are only effective when they're in a swarm, because otherwise they're just a little bit weak, you know, a little bit weak and a little bit cheap and whatnot. But you know what? It's certainly an interesting unit. I don't think it's gonna ever be deployed, you know, just gonna be deployed in normal games. I think people are still gonna prefer to go with sniper bots, which are probably the best advanced type of bot unit. Yeah, I don't really imagine these becoming super mainstream, but you know what? I would love to be mistaken. I would absolutely love to be mistaken, because I think it would be I think it's really good. You know, the more units, the better. Absolutely. All right, moving on to the next unit, we are having a look at the Proxy Commander, and as you can see, this costs more resources to build than the advanced bot. And honestly, it's not that great. It's not really great. I think it's supposed to be on some sort of a level pegging with the Commander. However, the commander is a little bit stronger, I believe. The Proxy Commander is a tad weaker than the real commander. But you know what? It can still do all of the stuff that it can do. It can build all advanced units, so it's kind of nice to have a commander that can build advanced units. I don't really know when you would want to deploy this. I mean, potentially on another planet. You can send a Proxy Commander or two to another planet. I mean, I'm about to throw them into some combat right now, but it's very clear to me that they should not be used in combat circumstances because they're just really not that great. Yeah, so I don't really know when this could be deployable. I suppose, yeah, once again, if you're sending it to another planet or whatnot, then you might want to include one of these guys just so you can build a little bit faster. Obviously, these guys build at the same rate as the commanders do, so they can actually build at a fairly fast pace when being compared to the advanced fabricators. But yeah, it's an interesting unit. Not entirely sure if I like it. Look, there we go, and they're straight away dead. Not the best. Absolutely not the best, but you know what? It's just another unit that proves that you can have quite a large amount of versatility, and you know, the more units, the better, as far as I'm concerned. They can also absolutely build what'd you call it, Titans, so that's kind of nice. And you know, they're not as expensive as main guys, but whatever. All right. Anyway, moving on to the advanced vehicle factory. After we're done with the bot factory, we're gonna have a look at the Storm. Now, the Storm is the next level anti-aircraft weapon, I suppose, and this probably gets my vote for most overpowered unit in the entire freaking game. Although, as you can see, you know, there's going to be counters to these units as we develop. But yeah, I was not expecting the Storm to be as effective as it actually is. And as soon as Jake gets some bumblebees to come and attack, you will really get to see how amazing this unit actually is. But yeah, so I think an advanced anti-aircraft unit has been long overdue in Planetary Annihilation. We haven't really seen one. We only had spinners, and spinners were, you know, painfully weak. As you can see, Phoenixes were destroyed right there. We're seeing the bombers come in, and they're getting absolutely shredded. And I just couldn't believe my eyes at this point. So I zoom in, and I have a little look, and I see, yeah, no, they're all on 100% health. How crazy is that? Not one bomber managed to get a bomb off. But anyway, now we're having a look at the second unit in the advanced vehicle factory. This is called the Manhattan. It is basically a mobile nuke. A mobile nuke on wheels. I think this is a really interesting concept, actually. I think it's a really, really cool thing. And yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's really awesome. And I think this could be deployed rather effectively. Now I'm just going to run it up into... I say walk it. Probably walk it is probably the correct term because, yeah, they don't go very fast, as you can see right now. But yeah, no, I'm just going to walk it up into Jake's base. However, I imagine that combined with the teleporter, this mobile nuke could be very, very effective. So what I can envision happening is that, say I send some orbital fabricators across to another planet that my enemy is on. That's fine. That's great. I build a portal with those orbital fabricators, and I send a Manhattan through it. That's beautiful. And anything that my opponent does to counter this, that's not super long range. So I mean, if he uses a bomber squadron to try and take me out, or if he uses sniper bots or whatever, then you know, this is really going to destroy quite a significant amount of the enemy's forces. So you know, that's super effective. I think, you know, in conjunction with teleporters, that could definitely be used. We did actually test to see if this worked with an Astraeus or a Pelican. That's the orbital transportation method, and the air transportation method, and it doesn't. So you can't pick up these things. You can't, you know, send them to another person's planet and drop them down. That would just be a little bit ridiculous. But yeah, as you can see, it looks really cool. It's got 8 tracks or whatever. It's got a lot of tracks, certainly. And now you can really begin to see how durable this thing is. So even being attacked by an entire fighter squadron full of bumblebees, it still survives for a decent length of time. And off goes the bomb. And Jake was building one as well, or he built one as well. So that exploded as well in a double explosion of fantastic harmony. But yeah, really like that unit. Alright, so next we're looking at the Worm, and this is a advanced unit in the Air Factory. And I think they look like B-52 bombers. So effectively, these are siege bombers, and they are quite powerful. They are very, very, very powerful. They're also very, very durable. They've also got a substantial amount of health. Here's me just placing down a radar just to make sure that I know where Jake's base is. All right, yeah. So as you can see, they move at a fairly slow pace, but thankfully I don't have to travel too far. And now you are just going to see a carpet bombing of his bases. Also, you can see his interplanetary fighters trying to attack my worms. They do pretty much nothing, and my worms are just absolutely going to town on his advanced air factories. Yep, they're just absolutely destroying it. It's worth noting that these guys don't have any retaliation against air, but at the same time, if they drop a siege bomby thing down onto the ground and an aircraft is underneath that, then the aircraft will be destroyed. So that's important to note. But yeah, my guys are pretty much taking almost no casualties. It's ridiculous. I mean, look at how much of the space I've destroyed. He's building flat cannons. You know, he's building flat cannons, and even they are finding it difficult to destroy my worms. Yeah. So obviously, you know, flat cannons are the most effective type of anti-air. But yeah, they find it difficult to take out the worms. I think really the only way to counter that is a large-scale interplanetary fighter counter, I suppose. Anyway, now we're having a look at the Angel, and the Angel is a really, really interesting concept for a unit that I didn't know could exist. Effectively, what the Angel does is it blocks homing missiles, right? So the two units that use homing missiles is, of course, the Spinner and the Tier 1 anti-aircraft stationary turret, right? So I've taken a whole bunch of bumblebees, the bombers, and a whole bunch of angels, and you're seeing that my bumblebees are staying alive. Like almost 100% of them are staying alive because of the angel's ability to negate the damage from homing missiles. So that is really, really cool. I thoroughly enjoy that. As you can see in the left, I'm just retreating my bombers right now just to make sure that they're not shot up by the homing turrets before the angels arrive. But yeah, no, very, very effective and a very, very cool unit. I thoroughly did not expect or know that a unit like this could exist. But yeah, definitely very, very cool. As you can see, Jake is building a couple of flak turrets, and right now you're gonna see that flak turrets overpower the angels. There's nothing the angels can really do about flak turrets, and yeah, my bombers are getting absolutely shredded. But you know what? I think that's fair enough. Flak turrets have at least got to be a little bit powerful. Alright, so now we're having a look at the Artemis. The Artemis is sort of a slow-firing Avenger that does a little bit more damage. I'm just gonna put this out there and say that I really do not like the Artemises. I think they are underpowered for the amount of resources that you have to put into them. I don't think they're effective. They're not fast. They're not great. I really don't like them. But yeah, you know what? They're on the list, so I feel I've got to show them to you anyway. Yeah, they're not great. So now I just spawned into the middle of Jake's jig farm, and I destroyed a fabricator. They're not really high health. They do fire across a longer range than the Avenger, although I think yeah, their damage, the lack of damage that they do, and the slowness of the damage. So it's a very, very low DPS right here. So yeah, you can see that it takes a long ass time to even destroy a jig, and of course I'm way too close to those jigs when it explodes. But yeah, if that was Avengers, then that would probably be done a fair amount quicker, because the Avengers do more damage, but also Avengers cost less materials to build. So you know, I thought that's fine. We've had a little shot of the Artemis, but perhaps I didn't give it a fair enough chance. So you know, I thought let's do it again. Let's see what happens if we deploy it against some anchors. Anchors, of course, being the stationary orbital unit that is just great, and it can really defend rather well from most orbital and ground-based attacks and units and whatnot. But yeah, let's go and deploy them. Let's go and deploy the Artemises. So I thought, okay, let's deploy them right into the middle of Jake's factories. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't have high hopes. I didn't have high hopes, but at the same time, I thought, you know what? How bad can it be? So, you know, we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot and we'll see what happens. As you can see, we've got them spawning in and they just die. Bear in mind, that was only 2 Artemises, right? And yeah, they're just dying before they can even spread out. It's pretty pathetic. Pretty darned pathetic. By far my favorite orbital unit is the Omega, and the Omega is making up for the Artemis's lack of ability to do anything. So yeah, totally glad that we've got these units in. I really like these units. They're probably my favorite orbital unit of all time. They're very fast firing. They do a bit less damage, but you know, they're still more powerful than Avengers. And the fact that they've got such a large health pool makes them probably one of my favorite units. They are quite slow moving, but they can attack everything, right? So they can attack orbital units, they can attack ground units, they can attack everything, right? So they can attack air units as well. So yeah, pretty darned powerful. As you can see, they're having no problem taking out an anchor. We haven't even lost an Omega yet, even though I've got 6 of them, but you know, barely any damage to these things. So I thought, you know what, let's go for it. Let's see if it can take out Avengers. And let me tell you, spoilers right now, Avengers crumble like dust when faced with an Omega. It is an embarrassing sight. I almost feel sorry for the Avengers, but yeah, jeez, it's crazy. So I thought, you know what? Let's do it. Let's deploy some more Omegas to Jake's home planet after we've pushed him back off the metal planet. We will launch an attack on his homelands. But yeah, basically, I really like the Omegas. I think that probably they are my favorite. They're my favorite new advanced orbital unit, I suppose. I would probably classify them as advanced because you need to build an orbital factory to build them. But yeah, whatever. They're really cool. I think that they are fantastic. All right, now we're gonna see the Omegas. These are damaged Omegas. Bear in mind, we're gonna see them being deployed right to the back of the factories. All right, that's fantastic. As you can see, they've got a little vision bubble underneath them, so you can actually see what is going on. And yeah, Avengers are gonna crumble. We've got a second batch of Omegas just arriving. We're just gonna mop up those factories, and we will endeavor to take out all of these Avengers. Look at that. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. At the same time that we're taking out Avengers, we're also taking out umbrellas that are being built. So this is really quite a good counter to the umbrella creep that often goes on. You know, you spam umbrellas when somebody's attacking you. Well, not with these guys. These guys will just tear through anything. So yeah, definitely my favorite. Definitely my favorite orbital unit. I don't think we've even lost. I don't think we've lost a single Omega. I mean, there's a couple that are on pretty low health, but at the same time, even if 1 or 2 did die, you know, we'd still be in a very commanding position. So yeah, it's got to be said that these guys are fantastic. Probably the only way to counter them, I would think, is building more Omegas. I think that's probably one of the only ways to counter them, because Omegas are just so darn powerful that it doesn't really make a difference what you throw at it. If you throw Avengers at it, you know, Avengers will crumble. Anchors will crumble. You know, that's just the way that they work. So Omegas, definitely, probably one of my favorite orbital units ever of all time. Alright, moving on to the final advanced factory, we've got the Advanced Naval Factory. Now, the Advanced Naval Factory is one of the most disappointing advanced units. Or the Advanced Naval Factory has added some of the most disappointing advanced units. So effectively what you've got is we've got a hover tank thing going on here, except it's a hover ship, so it can go across land, which is pretty cool, I guess. But the issue that I have with Navy is that it always goes so darn slowly. You know, there's nothing that you can do to make it go any faster. So unfortunately, Jake wasn't available for the recording of this. So I put a bot on, and I gave him a lower amount of economy. As you can see, I'm building the Typhoon as well, which is the second type of advanced naval unit. So yeah, I put the bot on. I gave him a lower amount of economy, and he didn't manage to build anything. He managed to build pretty much nothing. In fact, he built pretty much nothing. Yeah, I don't know why. But there you go. He built nothing, and so now I've just got a commander to destroy, which is a little bit annoying, but you know what? I think I might manage to cope with that. So the Typhoon is really cool. I think it looks really cool looking. Although it's just so damn slow. Oh my goodness, it's just unbelievably slow. And, you know, even bots move faster. Bots move a damn sight faster. In fact, I think even bloody Omegas move faster than this. But yeah, as you can see, these hover tanks can go on land, so that is pretty cool. I guess it's pretty cool. It's, you know, it's passable. They do a decent amount of damage. They're quite tanky. They've got quite a lot of health. But you know, I thought, okay, I can't destroy the commander. We've got to at least deploy the Typhoon and see what it can do. And yeah, you know, the hover sea tank, the hover boat things, whatever, they're pretty cool. I can see them being used. But yeah, you know, when you usually have an all naval battle, it tends to be a lot slower paced than you know, a ground based or a multi-planet based fight. So in all honesty, I don't hold much hope for these naval units being used. I mean, we still got the you know, the traditional Leviathans and whatnot, and was it the Orca? No, the Orca's the tier 1 submarine. Well, the tier 2 submarine, whatever. You know, I still think they're going to be used, and they would provide a pretty good counter to these units, I feel. But yeah, no, I feel that these are large investments. And can only really be used if they are at the forefront of the battlefield. You know, they don't have the range of Leviathans. They don't have a massive vision bubble. You know, I suppose the hover boats have got quite a large vision bubble, but you know, yeah. So I'm not super enthralled by these guys. I'm not super enthralled. In fact, I even start to manage other stuff. I think, oh my goodness, can I build an advanced naval factory right there and still be quicker? You know, because this was one of those questions that was seriously wondering about. But yeah, no, it turns out I can't. It turns out the tier one boats still go pretty darn slowly, and that's why I have such a huge distaste for them. But alas, that is the way of things. Anyway, we are seeing the Typhoon come into range very, very shortly. And the Typhoon deploys some little robots that go and take out the commander, and it looks pretty cool. I'm not going to dispute that. The Typhoon and the little robots do look pretty darn awesome. However, you know, again, just a little bit too slow for my liking, and yeah, I'm not completely sold on the whole idea of slow naval battles and whatnot. But anyway, I think the look of the Typhoon looks really, really cool. As we're seeing bots shoot out right now, they do a little bit of damage to the commander, but you know, obviously with a lot of bots, then they can easily finish off that commander. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for watching. My name, of course, has been Potato. Hopefully you'll tune in next time for some more Planetary Annihilation. But for now, bye.